older, I'm gonna give you the short version. I bumped my head a lot. I tried almost every hustle in the book, from selling weed, selling pills, check fraud, counterfeit. I tried in the last, let's fast forward. The last thing was prostitution. And it was through that situation, long story short, the female that was prostituting ended up being a pastor's daughter. So what happened was I got to this point where my cousin was playing the saxophone for the church. I started taking him to his practice. I'll be forgetting this part. So neither of us had cars. So it was a point where we were both renting the same car, piecing up and renting the car for weeks so we can both get to work. So I would go with him to play saxophone at the church. I would sit there, listen to the songs, all that. Eventually I started going to Bible study and stuff like that. Because my money was low, and money came and I was out of there. So then I ended up back in the church because the pastor's daughter was prostituting and whatnot. And as I sat back in the church, it was like, yo, I left the church to get money. Now I'm back in here in opposition to God, though. Like, I'm not here on good terms. And that was one of the last things that kind of just rocked me. And God showed me how easy it was for me to get far from him while feeling like I was still with him. And I was like, okay, this isn't safe. I need to just get him and just hold him, and I don't need no space because I'll be feeling like I'm a good guy because my squad was worse than me. So I felt like I was the good one. And then, man, once I started reading about Jesus, I saw how dirty I was too. Nobody gets to look at Jesus' life and feel like they still clean. So it drove me to repentance. I realized that I made a terrible God of my life. Right, that all of my decisions, all of the stuff that happened to me, like I was making my decisions. I was trying to play God. I woke up and said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go sell that. I'm going to do that. And it landed me where I was. So the only thing with all those hustles I tried, the only thing that I didn't try is following God. So, he broke me down to where it was like, yo, what else do I have to lose? Like, I've never really tried this thing. And I started following him, and he made it. I had tried to read the Bible at other times, and it was hard to read a chapter. And then I'd be falling asleep, and then it was mad hard. So one of the things I prayed was, Lord, can you help, make me want to read the Bible? You know what I'm saying? I kid you not. One day I woke up yo, I'm going to read the Bible from the beginning to the end. And that fire was there. I'm blowing through the Bible. I'm excited. I'm back in the hood. I'm in Compton. We playing Madden. And in my mind, I'm like, yo, I want to get back and see what happened with David and them. I never had that before. I saw other people have it, but I never had it. And I didn't want it to leave. So I kept walking. You know what I'm saying?
What's up, guys? What's going on, man?
Good.
Yeah, my name is Isaiah Leonore, and man, I'm just appreciative and grateful for what you guys are doing, man. You guys are changing lives out here, man. And it's how I became to become a Christian was, through music, man. And I never knew there was rap music, that was Christian, So when I started hearing that, I'm like, wow, it opened my mind to a whole new world. So when I was explaining to my brother, I was like, yeah, I'm going to this Bizzle concert. Like, Bizzle? What's a Bizzle? And I'm like, it's rap, And then he was like, oh, Christian rap? And I didn't want to say, oh, it's Christian rap, because sometimes you just close the door. I gave opportunity for him to hear your rap before he puts a label on it first. What do you think about that?
I feel I understand it, right? I feel like if you put the label on it, people will come with their preconceived notions. I also feel like if you put us in the box, I feel like anybody up here at this table can rap their way out of that box, right? So you can sit here and tell somebody he's whack, he's whack, he's whack. When I get to go, they're not gonna remember you said I was whack. You know what I'm saying? That's what it has to be. I don't depend on people to listen to me just because I love Jesus. we got a whole nother world that's making music, and to me, it's war out here. You know what I'm saying? For the minds and ears of the youth. So we gonna show my way is I'm going to, instead of taking it off because you think it's whack, I'm going to rip the microphone wearing it, and you're going to change what you think about me and everybody else doing it.
Like, I don't know about everybody else at the table, but I can't really think of a time where I had to call it Christian rap. Like, when I loved Jesus and I wanted to rap for him, I never called it Christian rap. I didn't know Christian rap in general existed outside of maybe Bizzle and Lecrae in the first place. I heard Bizzle because I saw a Vlad TV interview. Like, I didn't even know the song at that point. I just saw, oh, okay, it's this dude. My coworker told me about Biz. This was some years back, and he was like, yo, you Christian, right? He asked me, you Christian, right? I was like, yeah. He was like, you rap, right? Yo, you should check this guy out. Like, and then Lecrae, I just happened to see him because I tuned into a Sway in the Morning interview and saw him there. And I thought, oh, it's like a market for that stuff. Like, so really, I was just a Christian who was rapping. Like, I didn't know Christian rap was the thing. So I never really labeled it that way. I just wanted to make sure that whatever I did was genuine, that was prompted by the Lord, and that was done with the execution that was comparable to any other rap that you would hear. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think about it like, oh yeah. And now, you know, if somebody asks me, am I a Christian rapper? Yeah, I'm aware, because I'm a Christian and I rap. You know, I think the semantic thing is you know, unnecessary. I'm a Christian. I operate as a Christian in everything. I do that. I go to my job and I'm a Christian. I'm in my house and I operate as a Christian. You know, I talk to friends and family. I'm a Christian at that time. So, you know, the rapper label is just something that I happen to do. Christian is who I happen to be. So everything else is kind of... I think when I first started, I don't think I thought Christian rapper was necessary in the beginning. But I think as time is going on, I think it's become more and more important. Because you think about how important a name is. Like when somebody asks you your name, you look them in the eyes and you tell them what your name is. Like there's a different feeling that happens. And I mean, even now when there's such a division between whether I carry the name or whether I don't, I mean, you can't say classification isn't important now that I'm a musician for Christ, but it was before. Because back in the day it was, what block you from? You ain't making no bones about that. That's where I'm from. What kind of sneakers you got on? Classification is important because it tells you who's who, tells you where's where, tells you what's what. So in the beginning, maybe not, but now I need you to know where I'm coming from, because there's no time to dilly-dally nowadays. You know what I'm saying? I gotta get straight to the point to you. And to be honest, like with the music, it's like Biz said. I mean, we should be able, because somebody's saying, you know, you thinking that the door will close by saying it's a Christian rap concert. That to me, that's an alarm that goes off in my head. Because, not about you, but about the culture. Like, what damage have we done to the public as a genre, as a belief system, that saying Christian rap would make somebody close the door? So we got work to do too. In my head, I'm like, yo, what can we do to fix this? You know what I'm saying? And we're just gonna keep following God's will and His direction, and we're gonna remedy the situation in Jesus' name.
I got a question. So I've been listening to you guys for several years, and one of the things I desire most, because we listen to you guys, and one of the things that I love about you guys is it's kind of like non-denominational. Like no one here can point out who's who and what's what and what church you go to, and I think that makes everything inclusive for everybody. So no matter who we are and where we come from on this side, we're not identifying with your denomination. We're identifying with the God that you serve, and that's love right there. But if I was to give you guys John 14:15, let's say, because a big part of what you guys do and what makes your music so powerful is the message that you guys send. And John 14:15 says that if you love me, then you what? Obey my commandments. So being from right to left, left to right, I'm very curious because I desire mostly, besides listening to y'all music, and y'all music is a very big influence on me and my household. Very huge. I mean, it's pretty much all we listen to, me and my kids, and that's a fact, because we want to saturate them from the roots with the truth. And you know, there is an enemy out there that's using the same weapon to destroy us. And Dayton, you do a really good job of breaking that down in several records. But if you love me, obey my commandments, how would you guys write a song to that, and what would that mean to y'all? And I'm really curious as to everybody.
You said, how would we write a song to it? I don't know.
Hey, if you want to
no, because that's right. Not right. This is the thing, right? Because that's not how my music comes to be. Like, if that's something he gave you for a song, like, I could write one, but like I would have to write it when I'm inspired by it. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's like when you ask me, I'm like, how would I write a song? Like, that ain't even how I come up with the records. But I think overall through the music I think we definitely push obedience, whether it's ourselves in the way that we might cry out on a record, or even at times, because it's real, beat ourselves up on a record, or call others to be obedient to God and His will. You know what I'm saying? So I think as a whole, different songs, like one might talk about how we treat our women, one might talk, you know what I'm saying? I could probably write a song about it if the Lord, you know what I'm saying, drop that on me. But yeah, that's kind of a hard question, being that that's not what He gave me, like, to on the spot be like, this is how I write a song. Like, Mr. Range Rover, God dropped that joint on me like this, and I turned to my wife and said, look, the first verse is going to go like this, the second verse is going to go like, so I can't really do that with that right now, and I don't want to give you no fluffy answer.
That's a whole lot to unpack. That means so much. Obey my commands, and then you have the one side that's like, yo, we're the new covenant, and ignore the Old Testament and His commands, and then there's still so much to keep that it's like it just seems westernized Christianity like no, you know what I'm saying, for the majority. They're like, no, we good on those. I mean, some of us right up here would probably, I mean, just the fact that you asked that question, it feels like we on the same page. But that's just so much to unpack. That's like case by case, commandment by commandment. What did He mean by that? What did He mean by that? So that's, I think we hear, but if we hear, you understand how much of a big question you just asked.
And I did it, and I appreciate you answering it just that way, because I feel like too many of us as fans continue to stay fans and not really want to understand. Like, you know, we like the bop, we like the beat. A lot of times I use y'all music to minister to people, right? But then at some point we got to go to that word. And I think too many of us stay in the beat and don't actually hit the scripts with it. And I guess from my perspective, I'm very curious as to where you guys get inspired. So the way you answered it was perfect. I'm curious as to how you guys get inspired by this word and how does God move in y'all to make this music, because it definitely moves us on this side. Every time I drop something.
The one thing that is for sure, on tour, it may be a little hard to be in the scriptures every day. We're traveling, we're tired. The problem with touring is we're doing a lot of pouring out, but not being poured into on the regular as much. But we try to, we sharpen an iron all the time. When we home, I can speak for myself. I know it's the same case with y'all. I have intentional devotional time. I wake up at 6:30 in the morning, whether I feel like it or not. I'm in that word. I'm in prayer. And then if I feel like doing anything else as far as the word goes, or listening to a sermon, I'll add that on. But what is for sure is I'm in the word and I'm in prayer. And inspiration, I know, because we've answered this question, the inspiration for our music comes from, like, sometimes I'll be reading something like, ooh, I'll give y'all a little scoop. I got this joint on the album that's about to drop next Friday. Shameless plug, Hell in the Hallway, September 28th. I got this song called Lips Drip Honey.
gonna get it anyway.
And I was reading the Proverbs, and it talks about the adulterous woman and her lips drip honey, and I was just like, I've read that thing 1,000,000 times because Proverbs is my favorite book, and then wow, that one day it just meant something. I'm like, oh snap! I got these 3 stories in my head, and then so it'll happen like that, and then that's evidence that it's not it's past my own creativity. It's the Holy Spirit. Just like, hey, write about that. And I'm like, that was dope, Lord, the lips. So, I'm pretty sure we all on the same page.
Yeah, I would say that, anything that I've ever written, once I said I was going to rap for the Lord, anything I've ever written was prayed over first. Anything I've ever written was prompted. Like I didn't choose to write for something that God didn't give me to say. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's a feature or anything, like literally, even when you put out, opening for features now, like if it doesn't move me after prayer, after consideration to even move on it, not because of quality or anything, not because of status or anything, but just if it doesn't even prompt me to move, like if God isn't saying to me, yeah, this is one that you have something to speak about, like I'm not even gonna put it on paper. And honestly, when it comes to the creative process for me, period, it kind of goes in seasons. Like when it's album time, I'll know because God will start to drop things. God will put me through things so that I know the things to talk about. And he'll focus my mind on those things. Whenever there's a tension, whenever there's a struggle in the household, whenever there's a conversation I have with a friend, like God will begin to say, listen, pay attention to these things. Like these interactions that I'll have with people, I become a lot more in tune during those seasons. And in the off seasons, my wife, a lot of them, they know, but during the tour, I was going home every week throughout the week. So, I was going home, and real talk, my wife won't let me leave the house in the morning without us doing some form of a devotional. Like, she won't let me. She's like, okay, well, we need to do this. So how was this in your devotional? So she's on me pretty much all the time. So, and then I get here on the weekends, and then, I get a chance to pour out. So, seriously, man, anything, I can assure you this, anything that I've ever put on wax, under GOM or otherwise, like has been prayed over and has been prompted by the Holy Spirit, because I'm not going to waste the time and waste God's time by trying to do anything like that and not taking it seriously with the opportunity given. Just because I'm the one that didn't answer the question. I didn't want to be that guy. I'm saying I don't think you got to talk about it. If I had to write, because I'm a lot like Biz, like the way I create is different. But I think most of us would probably approach that commandment song from a Lord help me to try to keep your commandments better. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know these are